Sami Zayn is no longer your Intercontinental Champion. He has been stripped of the title because he's not able to go to SmackDown right now. Let's not get into the ifs and buts and maybes, but it does seem slightly erroneous. But on the plus side, we are going to get an Intercontinental Championship Tournament, and I like tournaments. And my name is also Simon Miller, and thank you once again for joining me on this Saturday, if you're watching it on day one, because SmackDown is in the books, it's over, it's done, it's dead, it's finished, but does it get an up or does it get a down? Well, I don't know. The only thing that does is this. The finger of power, and if you're now going, what a strange bald asshole, he talks to his hand, you damn right I do. Less up, those smacker downs. Otis is the greatest person to have ever been born. I love him so much, I want him to be my dad. But he was out here as a guest for Miz TV, as Miz was also joined by his tag team partner John Morrison, and he's just everything that we as a human race should strive to be. Give him an up. I mean, despite his big win at Money in the Bank, he still thinks his relationship with Mandy Rose is still important. He talked about all these difficulties he had as a child, but how happy he was to have a mum that supported him. And even when Miz and Morrison were throwing jabs and throwing insults, he didn't let them affect him at all. He was like, man, I'm Otis, and I am proud of who I am, and if you don't like it, well, you can kiss my giant ass. So he's just the best. And at one point, when he was coming out, he also thrusted towards his briefcase. Now, if you are a regular watcher of Ups and Downs, you know I have a rule about thrusting, and that is, you should never thrust, but we have found the exception. I mean, I don't know whether this means that Otis wants to have sex with his briefcase, but hey-ho, each to their own. Also, John Morrison even said to Otis, I only think you're with Mandy Rose because you've got a giant penis. Then he thought men could get pregnant. John Morrison kind of went off on one. The end result of all of this, though, was that Miz is super duper mad at Otis because he didn't win the Money in the Bank briefcase. He wasn't even able to climb a ladder, and he got it because of a fumble. And because of that, he wants to have a tag team match. And yes, there's no sense there, but I don't care. And the real strange thing was, Miz was like, you better go get Tucker Heavy Machinery. And Otis told us that Tucker still isn't able to make it to SmackDown. So that worries me. I hope he's okay. But of course, it does mean that new Mr. Money in the Bank is gonna have to go and find a new friend. I don't care though, Otis is brilliant, and if you want to give him a run with the Universal title, I'm not gonna argue, and I mean that. I feel like I have a connection with him. He gets 2 thumbs up. We also saw the brackets for the Intercontinental Championship Tournament here, and for some reason, AJ Styles is in it, and boy howdy did I laugh. Now it's because of this brand-to-brand invitational thing, but AJ Styles is just on a roll. Got killed by The Undertaker, came back from the dead, put himself in Money in the Bank, didn't win that, didn't win against the dead man either, and so now has gone, actually, I would like the IC title. So he's just there. I mean, what he was going to do next. And imagine 10 years ago, I have told you that AJ Styles was going to be imperative and integral to WWE programming. You would have slapped me around the face, but now you'd be kissing my other cheek, because you, my friend, would have been wrong. We also then had our first match in this tournament, and it was Baron Corbin versus Elias, and this made all the sense in the world because they are having a feud. Like Baron Corbin tried to kill Elias, and then Elias smashed Baron Corbin with his guitar, meaning he wasn't able to win Money in the Bank. But there was just one fatal flaw here, and that was, it was too long. When you have deathly silence, like WWE still does, no one's brain can concentrate long enough without going, I don't want to watch this anymore, and because of that, gets it down. It also finished with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. And the reason it doesn't get any fanfare this week is I can't get my head around it. I mean, watch this, right? Bring the board down, it goes up to 31, but then we mark it again to 32, because it's going to happen again in around about 72 seconds. I mean this from the bottom of my toes. WWE, why are you so obsessed with this move? Do you think if you don't do at least one of these in a TV week, the aliens are going to come down and are going to break this impenetrable barrier that the surprise roll-up is keeping up? They're not. No aliens are going to come down. Everything is going to be okay. If you want Elias to win, for Pete's sake, let him win. I will say there was this one hilarious spot when Baron went and got Elias his guitar, and instead of strumming it and just like making up chords, he kind of made noises with his mouth that sounded like a truck reversing, and that really made me chuckle. And we also learned that my word don't screw with Elias's axe, because both times that Baron Corbin did touch it, and the second time he just smashed it against the ring post, the Qatar man went absolutely crazy. So I guess this is like his anti-kryptonite You touch his instrument and he just goes nuts. And it was all of that that led to the finish, so Elias goes through to the next round, and do you know what will happen there? He will get screwed by who? That's right, kids, Baron Corbin. I also need to know why Corey Graves spent a large part of this match telling us how great it was that the King had tried to kill both Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black when he chucked them off the roof at Money on the Roof. Shouldn't the commentators be a bit like, man, that was... Like, shouldn't you be selling it like it's dangerous and that Baron Corbin is a crazy guy? Instead of standing there and going, I think trying to kill someone and murder is a really good plan in a wrestling match. It means something is afoot here, and I'm on it. So seeing as nobody else is going to investigate it, I will, and I'm going to start with the man known as Corey Graves, who clearly is in cahoots with somebody called Baron Corbin. I'd also like to ask the question, when did Mr. Corbin become the king? Who gave him that honor? I know he won the King of the Ring, but that doesn't mean you can go out and murder your citizens. So I will solve this, and I'll keep an eye on it each and every week. But Corey Graves and Baron Corbin, I'm on to you. Flew to the back next, where Otis asked Shameless if he would be his tag team partner, and the Irishman responded by just shouting in his face. And again, that was hilarious, because it was such an overreaction. As was Otis going to Mandy Rose and going, Mandy, I can't find anybody to be my partner, what am I gonna do? Dude, you asked one person. You can't give up that easily, at least ask four. She did suggest going to ask Braun Strowman, however, and Otis thought that was the best idea ever. But then, the worst thing ever happened, because another one of those hacker videos played, and it got me so scared, because obviously the hacker is here to reveal the truth. This came after Otis and Mandy Rose were talking. Mandy, I swear, if you screw our boy over, if you do anything, my heart will shatter into 1,000 pieces, and I will cry sad tears that are sad. That's also the name of my debut EP, but I will go on to say, I like all this hacker stuff, it has got me intrigued. We came out of this to Otis actually going up to Braun and saying, hey Braun, do you want to be my tag team partner? And understandably, the Universal Champion was dubious, because he was like, no, you're just doing that because you're going to then trick me and you're going to try and take my title. And I was like, I'm not going to do that, I just got to sort this problem out. And then Braun, being Braun, just went, I will think about it, because I respect you. Brilliant, just brilliant. When you think about something, that is a universal phrase for, well, I don't actually want to do this thing, but right now I can't figure out how to get out of it, so I'll tell you, I'll ponder the fact, but really, you can go away. For no reason, then Dana Brooke beat Naomi, and you already know the finish to this, because I referenced it. It did end with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. No ideas. I don't know why this happened. When it did go down, Naomi just stared at her like, who cares? It seemed to insinuate that maybe she's about to turn heel, so that's gonna need some investigating. I'm not gonna put the costume back on. I'm sweating as it is. It's so hot in this damn room. And also, if we do that, let's not do what we did last time. Do you remember Naomi was a bad guy for like 2.7 seconds, and she did that 180 thing when one week she was like, oh, I'm so happy. And then because she became a villain, she was like, oh, I'm so mad. I don't know. What I do know is getting her down. There was then a great Becky Lynch video recapping everything that had happened on Raw with her pregnancy, and you really should go out of your way to watch that, because it will make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And it was important that it did air here, because then I could hear the collective groan of the WWE Universe, because who walked out onto SmackDown? That's right, it's 3-show Charlotte Flair. Now, I like the Queen a lot, I really do. Sometimes I think she gets an unfair bashing from the community, but we really have to be careful we don't overexpose her. And then the most confusing thing ever happened, because she was out here and she was 100% playing the bad guy. She was all like, oh, I'm on SmackDown because I'm hot, and my dad is Ric Flair, and I'm the best wrestler ever, and Fox were desperate to see me. But then she was interrupted by Bayley and Sasha Banks, who are also bad guys, and they just had one like bad guy argument, and I sat there going, I have no idea who I'm meant to be behind. Obviously I'm behind Bayley, because outside of the world of K-bait, I think she's great, and I love her character, but it was just a little bit strange. However, that aside, this really did have something, because for starters, we continue to tease the relationship between Bayley and Sasha Banks and how it's about to implode, and the Queen was just like jabbing a stick in between them going, oh, Sasha, you're gonna take that from Bayley, are you? She was like a kid that would run up and kick you right in the shin. So the key with all of this is that whether they're good or whether they're bad, everything they said and the way they acted was truly believable, and when Sasha eventually has had enough and turns around and twonks Bayley in the face, I will cheer like somebody has just given me a card that says, Simon, you get a lifetime worth of ice cream. So sometimes you just need to take these segments for what they are, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I thought it was very good, and it means we're going to get a champion versus champion match. At one point it's going to be Bayley versus Charlotte, and doesn't that sound like a good time for Sasha Banks to finally play her massive card? I think so. It is getting it up. We went back to Braun Strowman, who was backstage warming up with some bands, and he got asked the greatest question I've ever heard in my life. The person came up to him and she said, Braun, because you're working out or warming up, does that mean you have decided to accept Otis's offer? And then Braun responded, no, this is just what I do. I'm laughing, excuse me, I'll start again. No, this is just... Right, last time. No, this is just what I do when I'm concentrating, and I now completely believe that WWE exists in its own reality. I mean, what's he gonna do later? Braun, what do you want for dinner? Let me go do some squats, and I'll get back to you. Braun Strowman is just strange. The whole thing is strange. He's a monster. He's also a child. I mean, he teamed up with Nicholas. You tell me. We then shot over to Miz and Morrison, who was like, Braun Strowman's not gonna team with Otis. He wouldn't be that stupid. But I'm sure you can already figure out what's going to happen. We also had a promo from the Forgotten Sons that had a disclaimer before it that basically said this doesn't represent the views of the company and everybody beware. And then we went to the Forgotten Sons and they just went, oh, by the way, we used to be in the army and now we're not. And when we came out, we kind of felt like we were forgotten about. I was like, wait a minute, that's not offensive. That's not weird. I can understand where you're coming from. It didn't need a disclaimer. I mean, it would be like this. Right, look, you listen to me, and you listen to me good. I really like cats. I think they're lovely, and I think they're fluffy, and sometimes, when I'm feeling lonely, if I can just stroke my cat, it makes me feel better inside. And if you can't understand that, well then, more for you. Ain't no one getting mad about cats. This tag team, well, we'll see where it goes. Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan then absolutely smashed it, and this is everything I want from empty arena matches. It was hard hitting, it looked real, they tried to out wrestle each other. I don't know what casual fans think of this kind of stuff, but nerd fans like me, I flippin' love it. Up. And I know only a few people can pull this off, but we need to figure out how more people can. There was one point where it looked like Daniel Bryan was gonna go for a roll-up, but somehow he transitioned it into a German suplex, and I actually thought to myself, that was more attractive than some women I've dated. I regret saying that instantly. I'm the unattractive one, I'm the asshole, somebody take my bald head and push it into a wall. It ended coolly too, because Mr. Yes Man was able to hit this dragon whip screw thing that looked like a gunshot, and because that focused on the knee, he then locked on a knee bar, and Gulak tapped out. So did this have many bells and whistles? No. Did it need it? No. Did it make me go woohoo, wahey? You're damn right. So Daniel goes forward in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament and got on the microphone afterwards and said, look, I lost this title 5 years ago because of injury, so now it's time to make amends. He then hugged his friend Drew Gulak, and this was a brilliant 10 or so minutes. I also think this was shorter than Baron Corbin versus Elias, which makes no sense. I don't understand why WWE couldn't have just chopped a bit off that and put it here. And I don't have to make those decisions. We also found out that next week it is going to be Mandy Rose and Otis taking on Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler. And we also had Sonya Deville here doing her usual, I'm so mad I'm gonna shout into the camera lens, but she's very good at it. I like her a lot. I of course now have the fear, because I'm just terrified that Otis is gonna be screwed royally in 7 days, but that's a week away. Let's take it out of our brain, blow it away, and not think about it. We then got our main event, and while it did see Miz and Morrison get sacrificed, I believe this was for the greater good, so it's getting it up. Braun had decided to team with him probably after doing some cable curls, and they were in control for large parts of this until Otis got poked in the eye, and that allowed Miz and Morrison to take over. The assholes. And eventually Braun Strowman got tagged in and he just ran wild, and even though at one point he went careering into the ring post like an absolute doofus, he was able to recover, he hit the running power slam, and kind of oddly, Braun Strowman got the win for the team. I would have preferred if it was Otis, because I feel like he's on an upward curve. But Braun is still our Universal Champion. There ain't no shame in ever losing to the guy with the big bad belt. And really, this was all about the aftermath, because Mandy Rose came out to celebrate with Otis, but then she tried to distract Braun, and Otis pretended that he was gonna cash in. The Monster Man then turned around and went, "Hurr!" as Otis kind of gyrated as he does and said, I'm only joking, big guy. Don't worry about it. Ha ha, hee hee. Thanks so much for teaming with me. So it was a really nice tease and I got into it, and while it's kind of disappointing that Otis isn't going to cash his briefcase in for the tag team titles, and he had said that on interviews and whatnot, and I think that would have been a good twist, I have no problem with this direction either. I think it could be quite good. There was also no sign of the Fiend here, which I also appreciated, because you don't need to bash us over the head with that. Let's take our time. I am willing to be patient. On a side note, can we stop celebrating after these matches when there's no fans in the arena too? It was fine with Otis and Mandy Rose because they were hugging and they were kissing, so they were focused on each other, but in the background, Braun Strowman then raised up his Universal title and just went. It was so creepy, and in context, I kind of felt like, is he getting really excited because he's watching Mandy and Otis be intimate? I'm not saying that's what happened, I'm just saying it looked a little bit like it. But let's forget about that, let's move on, because it's a horrible, horrible thought, and it brought us to the end of SmackDown, and I will call it a very easy, pleasant watch. I mean, not much happened, and I guess we are zooming towards Backlash, and I don't know if we're going to get The Fiend versus Braun Strowman and how Otis works into that, but mostly it was fine. Like I say, it was decent. We're not getting any more bamboozled shows, which kind of sucks. I like a big explosion. I'm like, oh, I can't believe that happened. But whatever. We continue walking through this crazy epidemic, and SmackDown gets an up. Why do I do it? Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, then head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon for WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.